Involving United, of course, they are battling against Copenhagen at Old Trafford. Then Bayern Munich are in Turkey, taking on Galatasaray in the Champions League fixture in Turkey tomorrow. So let's kick it off with the Group A. United seeking their first win in the Champions League. After 2 games, they have lost all, even when at home against Galatasaray. And then they take on Copenhagen. Some interesting happenings with the passing of Bobby Charlton. I'm sure the atmosphere at the stadium will be different tomorrow. Can the players galvanize on that to push for their first win in Europe tomorrow?
I think United knows that if they really want to go out of their group, tomorrow's game is a must win. They have no option than to win the game. And if you look at how they've performed in the Champions League, they basically find themselves at the bottom of the league with 0 points, whilst even Copenhagen themselves have a single point. They have tons of chance of even qualifying out of the group. For United, despite the fact that they'll be motivated by Sir Bobby Charlton and perhaps see this as a chance to celebrate him, it is also an opportunity for them to make a statement and say that yes, we are still ready and perhaps we want to even play in the Champions League, or perhaps make an opportunity to play in the Europa League. Because if they lose, obviously straight down, they are going all the way and they stand no chance of perhaps getting a chance. Because if you lose to Galatasaray at home and you lose to Copenhagen at home as well, there's no way you can beat Bayern Munich when they come to you to come and play. So for me, they will look at this and say that from a United point of view, it's a must win for them. For Copenhagen, they would be playing to at least fight for the 3rd place to at least make it into the Europa League, because they have 1 point. They beat United, or at least strive it's impossible to get a point at the United, and it's basically going to help them. So it's going to be a top game for United because there will be a lot of pressure on them to get the win, because they are yet to win a game, and they'll be buoyed by the fact that they had a good result over the weekend, so they'll be more motivated to go and play. I am hoping that they would have enough motivation to be able to do some good justice, but it will be very worse for them if they end up losing this particular one. At least for that, then they will know that the Champions League is pretty much over for them.
Interesting one. So it is a must win for them at Old Trafford against FC Copenhagen. And for Bayern against Galatasaray, I'm sure that it's anybody's game. It is anybody's game, absolutely, in that game, even though Bayern are always high flying. But that team in Turkey, and when they are playing at home, they can be a tricky side. And they've got some very experienced players also in their fold. It is what makes me think that they may have a chance against Bayern Munich, even though Bayern Munich clearly are the strongest force in that group. And in search of their 3rd win in the group, looks as though it's a game that may just be a bit difficult for them to win. That's my thinking. It might just be a draw for Gala against Bayern. I don't know what you make of that game yourself.
Yeah, I think if you look at Bayern themselves, they've not been vintage. It's not like the kind of Bayern Munich, because even if you look at their last game that they played, they struggled. In as much as they managed to win at the end, they struggled. They've not been how do we call it? They've not been vintage. They've not had a pretty much smooth run. In as much as they have 6 points and finally lies on top of the group, they themselves have had a fair share of not being able to walk past teams. And for Galatasaray, they know that this is a game that once they are playing it at Turkey, they need to get a win. Because when they travel to Germany, it is going to be a tough game for them. So they know that, and they know that there's an opportunity for them to go all out and defend and play some good football. And they are a very strong side. Galatasaray themselves are a very strong side. They play some good football. They are basically unbeaten in their last 5 games that they've played, both in the Champions League and outside the Champions League in their league. So they are a tough team, play some good, exciting, expansive football. And if you look at Bayern Munich themselves, they have drawn their last 5 games. They have drawn 1 and have won 4 out of that. But Bayern has not been vintage. This, not the classical Bayern Munich that you expect to see. So it is going to be a game that I expect an expansive football. I expect the game to be more difficult for Bayern Munich. And I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the day, Galatasaray ends up winning.
Gala win there for my man. That's for Group A. So my predictions for Group A, I think that for Man U against Copenhagen, Man U cannot have any excuse if they don't win tomorrow against FC Copenhagen.
They have
So
to stop playing the Champions League.
predictions, I think a win for Man U is likely. It's very likely a win there for Man U. If you're also a bit of a Fiero, go for over 1.5 in the game. So either a win for Man U or over 1.5 in that game. For Bayern Galatasaray, like I said, double chance Bayern Munich, as in either a win or a draw for Bayern Munich, or over 1.5 in that game as well between Bayern Munich and Gala in the UEFA Champions League. Now let's go on to Group B in the Champions League, where we have Lens take on PSV Eindhoven and Sevilla take on Arsenal. That is in Group B, and I'm sure the big game in there is Sevilla's home game against Arsenal. That should be a very interesting game to watch out for tomorrow in the Champions League. Sevilla have got some experienced players in there. Ramos is now in their fold. Yeah. Rakitic is in there, as well as the captain. What's his name? The captain right back for Sevilla. He's also very experienced, and he's there for them. They have changed their manager. He's gone. The one who won the Europa Cup is gone. They have a new manager in charge. And Arsenal, don't forget they lost their last game in the Champions League to Lens. They are again on the road in Sevilla against Sevilla. How will they fare, Arsenal?
It's going to be a tough game for Arsenal, and they know it. Sevilla, they are pretty much a stubborn side. They are they are not your typical Real Madrid, Barcelona, but they're a very stubborn side to play. And most of the times, English teams also struggle against them. And if you remember, Liverpool, Manchester City played against them in the I think the Super Cup.
The Super Cup.
And basically City struggled. And I said before that game,
they beat United in the Europa Cup to go ahead
them
and win it.
So English teams, I should say, struggles against them, and they have been a stubborn side. For Arsenal, they are going to play this game with two things in their mind: the fact that there's a possibility that Lens will beat PSV, and Lens have surprised everybody in that
100%. They've won their two games.
Playing in
good football.
They playing in the Champions League for the first time
in so many years,
and has surprised everybody in how they've performed. Won one game and drawn one in that regard. Played against Arsenal. I think they drew against Arsenal and managed to beat Sevilla in that game. And for Arsenal,
in fact, they beat Arsenal rather.
Yeah, sorry. I should say they beat Arsenal. I remember very well. Beat Arsenal in France. And if you look at the kind of football they have played, and look at Arsenal themselves, they have 3 points. Sevilla has 2 points. It's obviously going to be a tough game for Arsenal. And I look at this and I feel that Arsenal will look at this, and perhaps it may also be the reason why their game against Chelsea, they really didn't go full guns a blaze, because they look at this Champions League game and feel that they really need to win, because this is a group that looks very open. Because Sevilla wins this game
4-3-2-1. Yes, the points.
And it looks very open that the least chance the opponents, your other team gets, basically going after you. It's going to be a very tough game for Arsenal, and it's going to be very open. Okay. Arsenal really needs to get a win, and I see Arsenal going there to get a win.
Arsenal winning in Sevilla against Sevilla. Lens, I'm sure she'll win against PSV Eindhoven
at home.
Well. They're playing at home, and she'll win against PSV Eindhoven. So for Group B, conclusion for me as well is for the investment. I'm concluding on just on the investment front. Okay. On the investment front, just for possible options. So for Sevilla Arsenal, Arsenal are favourites, even though Sevilla are stubborn at home. But Sevilla are fantastic in the Europa Cup.
Yeah.
In the Champions League, they are not too convincing. So even in their last game, they drew away to PSV. They went up 2-0,
and
ended up drawing 2-2 with PSV Eindhoven. So for investors, for Arsenal Sevilla, or Sevilla Arsenal rather, Arsenal double chance, or goals, because this group has goals in there. In the last round of matches, it was 2-1 for Lens against Arsenal, and was 2-2 between Sevilla and PSV. So goals come a lot in that group. So let's go for goals as well. So for Arsenal, Sevilla, over 1.5, as in 2 goals or more, over 1.5 in a game involving Arsenal and Sevilla. And Lens, PSV Eindhoven as well, same, over 1.5 goals. Let's go for that as well in that group. Let's go on to Group C in the Champions League game for tomorrow. And Group C has Braga against Real Madrid tomorrow. And then Union Berlin take on Napoli also tomorrow. And let's take a look at the Braga from Portugal game against Real Madrid. In the group, Real have 6 points, Napoli on 3 points, Braga on 3 points, Union Berlin from Germany have no point, 0 on the table.
Yeah, I think Union Berlin has been there.
Surprise element, they have lost.
Yeah, whipping
two
side.
games,
Yeah,
Madrid
they
and
have
then to Braga
basically
at home.
been the whipping side. So once they are playing against Napoli, Napoli should fancy their chances because Napoli
Even though
themselves.
it's in Germany,
Yes, because Napoli themselves against Real Madrid.
tight game.
Yeah, it was a very tight game. Just Real Madrid just used mentality to get
Yeah.
the results because
Yeah.
it was a very close game. It was a game that was even perhaps moving in the direction of Napoli until the last few minutes.
When
That
Real came in strongly to
came
win it.
in strongly to change things around. And yes, it's Real Madrid and the Champions League. Yeah, they do what they like in it. For Braga themselves, they've not been bad themselves. Yeah, if you look at the kind of football they play, I think their game against Union Berlin, most dramatic game you could think of, because it took them last kick of the game to turn things around, because they themselves were down. Union Berlin just kept giving them the
They were
opportunity.
2-0 up and then they allowed
just came
Braga
all the
back
way
into
to
the
manage
game.
to win the game. They'll play this game against Real Madrid thinking about what is going to happen with now, because Napoli against Union Berlin, straight away Napoli is going to beat Union Berlin. It's obvious that they are going to do that. So they will play against Real Madrid and give them a tough time. They are going all the way to Portugal. Real Madrid is going all the way to Portugal, and it's going to be a tough game. But hey, this is Real Madrid. Real Madrid, it's going to be pretty much surprising that Real Madrid will lose to Braga. So for them, they will go into this game more charged up, and as I said, it's Real Madrid win or draw.
Okay, Madrid win or draw in the game against SC Braga. It's an away fixture though for Madrid, but they are always favorites. Real are always favorites wherever it is they go. They went to the Maradona Stadium in Naples to win 3-2 against a very high-flying Napoli side. And why not? They obviously are favorites for the game. So for Napoli and Union Berlin, tricky game. Union Berlin have been surprising at home. I mean, they went up 2-0 against Braga, but they lost 3-2. They went to Bernabeu, held on tightly until they lost through the Jude Bellingham late winning goal for Real Madrid. So for investors, Union Berlin, Napoli. Napoli are favorites, but Napoli may not play with Osimhen. Osimhen was absent over the weekend because he's injured. Not sure if he will pass fit for tomorrow's game yet. I don't know for sure yet. But if he's absent, they've got Simeone and the others like Kvaratskhelia, who will step up obviously to get the goals for Napoli. Let's go for double chance Napoli, as in a win or draw for Napoli in the game, or the goals, because that group also has goals over 1.5 in that game as well. Braga Real, obviously Real Madrid win, or for those who are not too over double chance for Madrid, double chance Madrid, or for the daring investors, anytime goal scorer Jude Bellingham. Anytime goal scorer, I repeat, Jude Bellingham in that particular game. The last group game for tomorrow's fixtures, Group D, will see Inter Milan against FC Salzburg, or RB Salzburg as they used to be called back then, but they are now referred to as FC Salzburg. Then Benfica to Sociedad. These are some interesting games out there. Inter against Salzburg. I think Inter should win this game. They are too strong. I mean, and they are in form. They have been in form for some time now. I think they should win this game at home against FC Salzburg. Even though Salzburg are not a mean side, they also currently have 3 points from 2 matches.
Inter has 4 points. Salzburg has 3 points. Real Sociedad has 4 points. Benfica, surprisingly,
the bottom place side with
0 points. It's quite surprising.
Yeah, surprising for Benfica.
Very surprising to see Inter play Salzburg early kickoff. Inter hosting Salzburg. Inter should be able to do some good, because once they are playing at home, those Italian teams, when they are playing at home against,
at least the win is
they are
very visible.
It's visible. It's the win is on their side. I think I see them easily. In as much as Salzburg has not been bad, because basically they have 3 points, have won one game. In as much as they are not a bad side, I think Inter should be able to go through this, because Inter knows that Real Sociedad would walk away with a point against Benfica.
Okay. So win there for Inter Milan, and Sociedad should get a point in Portugal against Benfica. So for investors, look out for the goals. So over 1.5 in a game involving Sociedad and Benfica, and go for a win for Inter Milan in their game as well against their opponents, that is FC Salzburg. That's for Group D.